Thank you for joining us. Here are the business stories making the rounds at this hour. I am Omobolanle Adeshui. The federal government, through the Budget Office of the Federation, has revealed that it will begin the implementation of its proposed excise duty on telecommunication services and beverages in 2023. This is despite backlashes from the Minister of Communications and Digital Economy, Issa Pantami, and the Manufacturers Association of Nigeria, MAN. Pantami had, during the maiden edition of the Nigerian Telecommunications Indigenous Content Expo, organized by the Nigeria Office of Developing the Indigenous Telecom Sector, slammed the 5% tax on telecom services. He said, quote, "The Ministry of Communications and Digital Economy is not satisfied with any efforts to introduce excise duty on telecommunication services. According to the ministry, this was in a bid to boost its non-oil revenue streams. The minister further said it expected excise duty revenue to grow exponentially because the introduction of telecom services and charges. Discussing the tax, which is under the purview of the Nigeria Customs Service, the government said the NCS would introduce frameworks for recovering duties, taxes, and appropriate fees from transactions conducted over electronic networks. It said the law now empowered the FIRS to appoint anyone as its agent to withhold or collect VAT and remit the same to the service. The federal government has paid a total of 980.18 billion naira to retirees of Treasury-funded ministries, departments, and agencies from the inception of the contributory pension scheme in 2004 to December 2021. The Director General, National Pension Commission, Aisha Dahir Umar, disclosed this in her report on the pension industry for 2021. According to her, the most significant development in the pension industry in 2021 was the successful reduction of outstanding pension liabilities of the federal government under the contributory pension scheme. She said PENCOM obtained presidential approval for 159.4 billion naira to defray some aspect of outstanding pension liabilities of the federal government under the CPS. Consequently, she said 40.5 billion naira being the outstanding accrued rights of 6,282 retirees and 2,329 deceased employees was paid during the year. She added that 66.8 billion naira was remitted into the retirement savings account of 85,743 retirees and 693,229 active employees, being the 2.5% shortfall in the rate of employer pension contributions as of December 2021. The balance of 52.08 billion naira was processed in the 2022 financial year, she noted. The Central Bank of Nigeria, CBN, has advised members of the organized private sector OPS to always ensure that they repatriate foreign exchange proceeds to the Apex Bank to ease forex pressure in the country. Deputy Director Banking Services CBN Igwago Ezulu at the National Stakeholders Conference of the Association of Corporate Affairs Managers of Banks in Lagos advised OPS to take advantage of the various intervention schemes of the CBN through the Bank of Industry, the Development Bank of Nigeria, and commercial banks to boost their output. He said, quote, "We are taking forex out of this country and dumping offshore when we were told to bring them back. If Nigerians are bringing back forex, we would not be talking about the challenges of forex. There is a challenge for individuals and businesses to do the right thing," he said. When you talk about financing small businesses, the CBN has done a lot of funding to the sector, alluding to trillions of naira, and has established 2 entities for this purpose. And reactions have continued to trail the frequent rise in the exchange rate between the dollar and its attendant effect on the economy of the country. Igweje Korea reports that Lagosians are of divergent views on the influence of the dollar on the economy of the nation. And moving on, despite the 65% loan-to-deposit LDR ratio policy of the Central Bank of Nigeria, which was aimed at forcing the hands of financial institutions to lend to the real sector of the economy. Banks' deposits with the CBN have continued to witness exponential growth, hitting 12% year-on-year as at the end of July this year. According to Standing Deposit Facility (SDF) data by the Apex Bank, deposits since the beginning of the year has witnessed a steady increase as uncertainty continued to mount over the 2023 general elections, among other factors. The SDF is a lower corridor of the monetary policy rate at which deposit money banks, DMBs, and discount houses can deposit their money overnight with the CBN for an interest rate. The CBN has over the years maintained that strong patronage at the SDF confirms healthier liquidity in the banking system. The applicable interest was at 4.5% early in 2022, when CBN maintained its MPR at 11.5%. According to the financial data by CBN, a sum of 2.32 trillion naira has been deposited through the SDF in 7 months of 2022, representing an increase of 12% year-on-year from 2.06 trillion naira in 7 months of 2021. The month-on-month breakdown showed that banks in January deposited 296.8 billion naira with CBN, and it increased by 65% to 489.05 billion naira in February. Reacting to this on Business Breakfast, economist Dr. Leke Ebenezer averred that the bank's decision to deposit with CBN as against lending to the real sector is premised on 4 major factors.
Okay, thank you very much. You know, when you are thinking about investment, 4 things are basic. One is return, 2 is risk, 3 is safety of investment, and 4 is talking about the payback period. The bank are paying attention not only to the return on investment and the risk, they are also looking at the time frame of getting back, whatever interest they want to get. And so they are comparing about 4.5% to 25% in terms of return is extremely low. But when you are looking at what is the bank strategy as to what do we want to do long-term or short-term borrowing, so that we can quickly get back, return on investment and then move on. And so the banks are looking at it from the angle of not only the return and risk that is involved, they are also looking at the payback period.
And in other news, traders at the Kwemo market of Lagos State have continued to protest low patronage and high cost of food items following the free fall of the naira to the dollar. iBrandTV reports that the traders are calling on the government to take urgent steps to stabilize the price before the situation gets out of hand.
This our government now so fault. Anything there for a man. Talk less of fault. If they die finish for this Nigeria, who want to come vote for them? Yes. Who want to vote for them? Hungry too much. More than leave people race.
On sighting the camera of the news crew, the traders started lamenting what they describe as a sorry situation in the history of Nigeria doing business. They said they are only at the shops to be in business and not to make profit anymore, owing to the ranging effect of the dollar in the economy.
Everything don't cost. Those okra now, if you want to buy okra, a pint of okra now is 3,000 naira. This our government now so fault. So fault. Anything there for a man. Talk less of fault. If they die finish for this Nigeria, who want to come vote for them? Yes. Who want to vote for them? Hungry too much. More than leave people race. Say like this we go continue. Now like this we go continue for this life.
It's so difficult. So difficult. Market that we are selling 750 before is now 1,500 naira. See the difference. 1,615. The difference is too much. It's too much. It's seriously affecting us. So please help us to beg our government. It's too much.
There are those who do not believe that the exchange rate is the issue with pricing.
We ourselves, we are the major cause. There are some things that dollar does not even affect, that doesn't even need to go up. But because of the situation of the country, we make use of that excuse to take rate of goods up by saying, dollar is expensive. It's just like in case of this plantain has season. It has time that used to go up and come down. So you can't tell me now that will say dollar is affecting plantain. Like now at least the plantain something has come down. Like unlike before we share this type 1,000 naira. But at least with these few months now, plantain has come down now due to enough plantation and everything. We have season for everything. It's not everything that is affecting, that dollar is affecting.
The traders said they will go on a protest soon if nothing is done. Boji Warrior, reporting for iBrandTV News.
Bakers under the aegis of the Premium Bread Makers Association of Nigeria have warned of yet another hike in the price of bread due to the skyrocketing cost of baking materials. President of the association, Emmanuel Onora, stated that the recent development in the global marketplace had not translated into a better operating environment for local bakers. The planned hike follows a recent strike action by PBAN, as well as the Association of Master Bakers and Caterers of Nigeria, which culminated in a 15% hike in bread prices barely 2 weeks ago. According to Nora, many PBAN members had been forced to shut down business operations this year due to the skyrocketing cost of doing business. Onora also urged the federal government to open up a forex window for industry players, particularly the flour millers. This, he said, would significantly address the indiscriminate increase in the prices of flour in the market. And Nigeria lost 891 billion naira to gas flaring in 18 months, according to data from the Nigerian Oil Spill Monitor, an arm of the Nigerian Oil Spill Detection and Response Agency, NOSDRA, released on Sunday. The data revealed that the country lost a total of 707 billion naira in 2021 and 184 billion naira in the first half of 2022, totaling 891 billion naira. According to the NOSDRA report, oil and gas companies operating in the country fled a total of 126 billion standard cubic feet of gas in the first half of 2022, leading to a loss of $441.2 million in the 6 months. On the other hand, in 2021, about 23,862.271 barrels of oil and 190 tanker trucks were spilled. Brent International was sold for an average of $71 per barrel in 2021, bringing total revenue loss in that year to $1.7 million. The estimation put the equivalent of the volume of gas fled in the first half of 2022 to carbon dioxide CO2 emission of 6.7 million tons in the oil-producing areas, 4.56% higher than 120.5 billion SCF of gas fled in the second half of 2021 and capable of generating 12,600 gigawatt hours of electricity. On the other hand, the quantity of gas fled in the first 6 months of 2021 was capable of generating 14,000 gigawatt hour of electricity and an equivalent of 7.4 million tons of carbon dioxide emission. Given the breakdown of the gas fled in the country in the first 6 months of 2022, the agency disclosed that while companies operating in the offshore oil fields fled 62.2 billion SCF of gas, companies operating onshore fled 63.9 billion SCF of gas, valued at $223.6 million. And in the last 12.5 years, spanning the period from 2010 to the first half of 2022, Nigeria's power grid suffered at least 222 partial and total collapses. An analysis of industry data, mostly from the Nigerian Electricity Regulatory Commission, NEC, has shown. To reduce the rate of grid failures, Minister of Power Abubakar Aliyu said the federal government would fast-track the purchase and installation of a supervisory control and data acquisition SCADA system. However, a study jointly published in March by Inemeka MOD of the University of Queensland and Ogenerona Dimodeke of the University of Port Harcourt estimated that in sub-Saharan Africa, every 1% increase in the power outages in terms of hours have been associated with 2.86% decrease in gross domestic product GDP, as this translates to a loss of about $28 billion in GDP, according to the academics. Meanwhile, a 12-year, 9-month review of NEC data from 2010 to September 2021 showed that 216 crash incidents happened during the period. But from independently sourced information between the last quarter of 2021 and June this year, it was gathered that about 6 cases of total collapse of the power grid had been publicly reported, taking the figure to 222 between 2010 and June 2022. Still to come, European stocks climb as traders assess earnings, economic data. Details on more news update after this commercial break. We'll be right back.
Most people don't understand the magic of a perfect skin, the allure of a well-pampered skin. We bounce from skincare products to skincare products, from spa to spa. Looking for that ideal solution. I found the solution. And it's Beverage Skincare and Spa. My name is Neil, and I'm proud to be a part of the Beverage family.
Thank you for staying with us. To the Africa scene now, where South Africa's rand steadied in early trade on Monday as investors brace for fresh clues after an unexpectedly strong U.S. jobs report supported the case for more big interest rate hikes from the Federal Reserve. At 6:37 GMT, the rand traded at 16.7650 against the dollar, near its previous close of 16.7775. The dollar index, which measures the currency against 6 rivals, last stood at 106.59, not far off from a Friday peak of 106.93. In the absence of major local economic data points, all eyes on Monday will be on U.S. Secretary of State Anthony Blinken, who is on a visit to South Africa, where he is expected to outline the U.S. government's approach to Africa. The government's benchmark 2030 bond was marginally weaker in early deals, with the yield up 2 basis points to 10.305%. And on the foreign scene, oil prices inched up from multi-month lows on Monday as lingering worries about demand weakening on the back of a darkened economic outlook outweighed some positive economic data from China and the United States. Erasing earlier gains, Brent crude futures were down 51 cents or 0.5% at $94.41 a barrel by 8:16 GMT. U.S. West Texas Intermediate crude was at $88.58 a barrel, down 43 cents or 0.5%. Front-month Brent prices last week hit the lowest since February, tumbling 13.7% and posting their largest weekly drop since April 2020, while WTI lost 9.7% as concerns about a recession hitting oil demand weighed on prices. China, the world's top crude importer, brought in 8.7 million barrels per day of crude in July, up from a 4-year low in June, but still 9.5% less than a year earlier, customs data showed. In Europe, Russian crude and oil product exports continue to flow ahead of an impending embargo from the European Union that will take effect on December 5. And European markets advanced on Monday as investors continue to monitor corporate earnings and key economic data points, assessing the risk of recession. The Pan-European Stock 600 index climbed 0.7% by late morning, with tech stocks adding 1.3% to lead gains as all sectors and major bourses traded in positive territory. The European Blue Chip Index closed Friday's session down around 0.8% after an unexpectedly strong U.S. jobs report lowered expectations for a recession and in turn increased the likelihood of the Federal Reserve tightening monetary policy more aggressively to bring down inflation. Markets in Asia Pacific were mixed overnight, with Hong Kong's tech-heavy Hang Seng Index weighing down the region. On the data front of Europe, August Centix Economic Sentiment Index for the Eurozone rose fractionally from the previous month, but still pointed to a high likelihood of recession across the 19-member common currency bloc.